a wonderful way to just start this evening, to really get deeper and deeper into the greater knowing that right where we are, God is, that right where we are, life is, that right where we are, abundance and harmony and power and joy live in, through, and as us. You know, everything is set up so that we begin to just anchor in. When we sing that song, reveal, not put it in me, reveal it, because it already lives inside of us. We're just revealing this greater truth. We're revealing who and what we already are. This month, we're talking about say cheese. Everybody say cheese. And we're saying cheese because we're reading Dr. Spencer's book, Who Moved My Cheese? Now, last week's saga of hem and haw and of sniff and scurry took us to that place where every day they would put on the two little people, hem and haw, and the mice. They would put on their running shoes, they would put on their little jogging outfits, and they would go out into the maze of life, and they would search for cheese. Cheese is a symbol for that which makes us happy. Cheese could be the cheddar, getting paid. Cheese could be a happy home. Cheese could be anything that you imagine it to be, but it is indeed that which brings us happiness, that which brings us joy. And at the end of last week, what happened was both parties, both mice and both little people, they ended up in Cheese Station C, and it was filled with cheese. The little mice, they kept paying attention. They kept having their running shoes on. They kept putting on and doing the things necessary to notice what was happening around them. For us, that really symbolizes our prayer work, our meditation work, staying consciously aware of our surroundings. Now, mind you, the little people who thought, oh, the mice, they're just simple-minded, they thought they had this all covered. They thought they had it really going on, and they were just kind of like chilling out, thinking, this cheese is never going to run out. It'll be here forever. But as the story goes, things changed. Things shifted, and after a while, all the cheese was gone. Now, mind you, the two mice, Sniff and Scurry, they did exactly what they do. They sniffed around looking for some more cheese, and they scurried along into the maze to find more cheese, to find that which nourished them, to find that which sustained them, to find that which brought them happiness and joy. I didn't tell you what happened last week, right? Because that's what I was saving for this week. Because this week's topic is the amazing road. And as we would have it, as we're peeking into this idea and to this story of hem and haw, because that's exactly what they're doing. They keep coming back to Station C, which is now empty, and they're hemming and hawing around, trying to figure out how come there's no cheese. They're trying to get to the bottom of things, and they're not necessarily going with the flow. They're looking for answers and results. They're trying to find who to blame and who moved the cheese and what's going on. As a matter of fact, as we peek into the situation, they're bringing tools. They're thinking, somebody moved it behind the wall. So they're bringing tools every day, and they're trying to make holes in the wall to see what's on the other side. And of course, nothing. Now, this story that I'm telling you is not just a story about two mice and two little people, but indeed how it relates back to our own life. Indeed to where we continue to do the same things over and over again and expect different results. Well, there's no cheese. There's no cheese. But time after time after time, we convince ourselves that maybe it'll be here tomorrow. Maybe it'll come today. But the bottom line is, why would anybody want yesterday's cheese today? Yuck. Hello? Why would we want yesterday's cheese today? But that's our mentality sometimes. That's our challenge sometimes. Sometimes when things go awry or when things change in our lives, we just want the good old days back. We just want it to be how it was yesterday. Or sometimes, we move jobs. Sometimes people make their transitions in our lives, and we're going through some ups and downs in our lives, and we just kind of say to ourselves, ooh, I'll be glad when this is over so things can get back to normal. Hello? Get back to normal? What is normal? Is that how we want to address and handle change or conflict? Or are there other solutions? Because the bottom line is that every day is different. I said this last week, and I think I try to say it as much as possible. When we look out into the audience and we look out, see who's here, I remind you, this combination of people will never, ever be together again in this same way, because there's always something different. But a lot of times we just think we come to Wednesday night service. It's just Wednesday night. But it's always different. There's always somebody else who's here, who's new, maybe someone who came back, maybe somebody had been out of town and they haven't been here in a few weeks. The combination of folks is a one-time occurrence. And that's how life is. It's not Groundhog's Day. It's not the same day just kind of repeating itself over and over again. But sometimes in our minds, we lie to ourselves, only because we've been taught that. Oh, I just want things to get back to normal. I just want the days of yesterday back. I just want things to be the way they used to be. Who are we kidding? We're only kidding ourselves. When we believe or when we fantasize for a moment or for an hour or for many, many days like him and Ha did in Station C, that maybe, just maybe, if we hang around here a little bit more, the cheese will come back. That it'll be like the good old days when there was plenty and plenty of cheese around. And the truth of the matter is that by design, it is always changing, always changing. So for those of us who say, oh, I don't adjust well to change, another lie. Change every day. Every day there's something slightly different. There's something magnificently different about our lives. So what we get to change is our language, and we get to change our thinking about change. The other thing that we get to look at is him and Ha kept saying, they moved our cheese. Who's them? The cheese is just gone. It's just a situation. It's just an experience and a circumstance. There's nobody here to blame. They've been eating on the cheese for a long time, and it's just gone. How often do we create a them or they and live in victim consciousness like they did this to me? Well, the good news is that we no longer have to live in victim consciousness. We get to let that go, and we get to embark upon an amazing road that not from the place of life happens to me to life happens by me. Life happens by me. We have all been given this opportunity, this grand opportunity of choice. We've all been given this grand opportunity to make some decisions in our lives, to see things in such a way that we can pursue our happiness, that we can go forward and get our cheese, get some more cheese. So him and Ha are still there, but Ha begins to laugh at himself by saying, ha, 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 ha. That's one of the funniest lines in the book. Ha, 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 Ha said. He began to realize that there's a difference between activity and productivity. they were being active, doing nothing, kind of spinning around in a circle, trying to find cheese that's not there anymore, trying to find yesterday's cheese, when in fact, they could switch, shift, become aware, and simply ask the question is, where can we find more cheese? And they know the answer to that because every day they put on their running shoes and they go into the maze looking for cheese. They know the cheese is in the maze. And Ha finally begins to imagine and see himself smiling as he goes out into the maze. And he kind of thinks, that's kind of weird because I have to go back out to work. I got to go get my cheese again. I got to go out there into this maze. And Hem is kind of, I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to go back out there. I don't know if I could do it again and find the cheese and go searching and looking. I don't know. I think I'm just going to stay right here. How many times are we paralyzed by our own thinking? How many times are we paralyzed by our fear? How many times do we give in to mediocrity instead of taking that step to excel into our greater yet to be? I say too many. One too many times. When indeed, through our spiritual practice, we can begin to leave mediocrity behind and really begin this amazing road and step into our greater potential, to step into our truth, to step into that which is real, to step into that energetic of life, releasing any stagnant energy and stepping into the energetic that says life is for me. Everything is working together for my good. And for those of you who like conspiracy theories, you're out there. Here's a conspiracy theory for you. Life is conspiring for your good. There you have it. Life is conspiring for your good. Everything is coming together for your good. And as it comes together for your good, it is coming together for the good of all. You know, Hem in the book, this is what he does. I think it's on page 45. Let's take a look. This is what he does, and this is as simple as it gets. And it's a beginning. Because if you find yourself anywhere in life in an empty cheese station where there's no cheese, here's just a little something that you might begin to practice so that you can get out of that empty station and get into the maze and begin to find that which is yours, that which the universe is saying, it's right here. We just got to be able to let go of the stagnant energy and move into the energy of life. So, it's actually page 44. So, it says that then he used his imagination to paint the most believable picture he could with the most realistic details of him finding and enjoying the taste of new cheese. Key. Here's a key. Believable. Okay? Believable. A believable picture. Because if it's not believable, you're not going to buy it. If you think to yourself, oh, yeah, 50 million, gazillion, billion, trillion dollars, it's not believable. But if you see yourself making $50,000, $100,000, $500,000, $1 million more, that might be believable for you. So whatever's believable for you, not for the next person, but for you. If you see yourself in a home, is it a mansion? Is it a 2-bedroom house? Is it a cottage? What is believable for you? When you think about happiness and a happy relationship, do you see a white picket fence and 3.2 children? Or is it believable for you, you and the person of your dreams, walking along the beach? What is believable? You must paint a picture. Paint a picture of the most believable picture that you can, the most believable picture. The other key, with the most realistic details. Take your time. A lot of people call it daydreaming. This is visualization. This is not something I made up. It's in the book. It's in a lot of books. It is exactly the process of creation. We begin to energetically put ourselves in that picture. We begin to use our imagination, which is God-given, God-inspired, to actually begin the energy flow that attracts us and it to each other. We begin to leave the old energy behind of lack, limitation, doubt, fear, hatred. We begin to leave that behind when we start painting a realistic picture with realistic details. Right? Don't be scared. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to engage in this process. It is exactly the creation process. We have to see it in here, in our mind's eye, before we can see it out there. You got to know that whoever invented the chair didn't see the chair and said, I invented this. No. Any invention is created first in the mind or created twice. It's created in the mind. It is imagined. Then it gets on paper, on sketches. Then it goes into manufacturing or building or prototypes. But it is created here first. Don't be afraid of your God-given mind. Don't be afraid to tap into the one mind, the one power, the one presence that even gives us the ability to have this great thing called imagination. So Ha saw himself, and then he saw himself enjoying the taste of cheese. See yourself enjoying that which you're after. See yourself enjoying it. Step into that energetic. Don't be afraid of what you can create in your own mind. It says, he saw himself eating Swiss cheese with the holes in it, bright orange cheddar, and American cheeses, Italian mozzarella. That's for Jim Bianchi. And wonderfully soft French cheese. And that was enough. That was enough to propel him into action, to move him into saying, look, dude, I'm leaving. Are you coming? Are you coming with me? We've been doing this forever. Are you coming with me? And Ham was just too afraid. Too paralyzed by fear, too paralyzed by the thought of going into the maze. But Ha had to follow the song of his heart and put on his running shoes. He had to find them and venture out. Now, mind you, he was on this amazing road forever. And it was so amazing that even though he didn't find any cheese for quite some time, he just felt better because he was into action. He was actually being productive. He was actually taking the opportunity to be and live from that energy of expectation, knowing that as he went out into the maze, that he was going to find that which he was seeking. And that he was seeking was also seeking him. Because, you know, cheese ain't no good unless it's going to be eaten, unless it's going to be used. Cheese don't want to go to waste either. Cheese wants to be enjoyed. It is there for the enjoyment and the pleasure. And so on this amazing road, he would leave little notes on the wall. Lessons that he had learned about paying attention, For us, as we're on this road and things are beginning to go well, we must leave signs for ourselves. We must leave those signs, those notes, those bulletin boards, maybe even the neon ones that blink. They're to remind us to pray, to know the truth about who we are, to know the truth about life. Because for us, prayer is not about beseeching or begging a power outside of us. For us, prayer is simply knowing the truth. And that truth is that right where I am, God is. So some of the notes for us may be, remember to pray. Remember to meditate. This is pretty secular. Keep hope alive. Whatever it is, we must continue to leave those signs, those affirmations, those notes. We must continue to have people in our lives that remind us or are like signs of the truth of who we are. Those people that are our cheerleaders. Go ahead. Keep going. Yes, you can do this. Those people that support us. Those people that maybe when we're down and we're ready to give up, be like, whew, I'm tired. Be like, come on. You can do it. Get up, that we can call. Those people that will help us to keep our dream and our vision current and up front. We are on an amazing road. Or are we? Are all of us on a road? We all have access to the road. Maybe some of us have found the next cheese station where there's lots and lots of cheese. And maybe some of us are stuck at cheese station C, still kind of picking at the wall, trying to see if they moved it to the other side. Ernest Holmes talks about a road and talks about the consequences of our road. He says, so man must be created with the possibility of limitless freedom and let alone to discover himself. We have limitless freedom, but we have to discover it for ourselves. It's up to you. You have to discover your freedom. You have to discover it in the maze of what we call life. He says, on the road to self-discovery, he must be subject to the law of reality with a capital R, the law of God, the law of life. And if ignorance, and I like to say it that way, and if ignorance, some of you might call it ignorance, but it is ignorance. And if in ignorance he violates this law, he must therefore suffer. There's not a power outside of us that makes us suffer or that gives us good or bad or anything like that. What Ernest Holmes is saying here is that we have limitless freedom. It has already been given. It is who and what we are. There's limitless love, joy, power, peace, abundance, wholeness, joy, harmony, clarity, wisdom. It's already given. It's limitless. And we must obey the law of reality, the law of God, which is, it is already given. But if we're on this road and we are in ignorance, if we ignore this truth, if we ignore the truth of who we are, then we suffer. So if we ignore that we're already free, if we ignore that we are already loved, if we ignore that we already have it, if we're not paying attention, if we're still at station C trying to do the same things over and over again, expecting different results, we're in ignorance. We're ignoring the truth. The truth is it has already been given. And we get to exercise our freedom to seek that, to be with that, to see it in our mind's eye, and to take the steps necessary to be in our freedom. Or we suffer, meaning there we are, like him, at Cheese Station C, with no cheese. It's totally up to us. And the more and more we recognize that when we get stuck in a rut or in this place of doubt, we can get out by some simple practices, by investing in our spiritual bank account, using our prayer, our meditation, our visualization. Even just visualizing it was enough to get him back on the road. Do you think he's going to find some cheese? I know y'all read the book. Yeah. Because he's going out with expectation. He's going out. He's already used the tools necessary to put him out in the maze and get there. Now, mind you, Sniff and Scurry, they left a long time ago. They left days before Haw decided to go. And because they just did what they do with their simple minds, they found another cheese station. Had loads and loads of cheese, even more than Cheese Station C. And they have been living their bliss. Meantime, him and Haw been in the empty cheese station. All that to say is that when we have a spiritual practice like Sniff and Scurry, they paid attention. They kind of saw the changes. They were measuring. They were looking. They adapted to change. Oh, there's no more cheese here? Okay, what do? So, in other words, we have a problem in life? We take it to prayer. Something's going on in the world? We go into meditation. Something didn't turn out the way I think it should have? I start visualizing or visioning, or I call a practitioner and we begin our prayer work. That's what Sniff and Scurry do. They keep it simple. They have a spiritual practice and they do it. That's the lesson of this amazing road, is that we can hem and haw all we want. Or we can instill in our daily life a practice that will help us navigate through life easily and effortlessly. But it is definitely your maze, your cheese, and it's totally up to you. We can all say cheese because we're on this amazing road. And we're going to do that now by going into some quiet time. So as you prepare your minds for our quiet time, even though it is brief, it is still powerful. It is powerful because we use this time in a dedicated way to know the truth about ourselves. So let's use this time right now to get out of the empty cheese station. And let's begin to use this time in whatever way we'd like to, on purpose, to visualize ourselves happy, joyous, free, abundant, living in harmony, living from our truth. See it in your mind's eye. See it, feel it, make it believable, realistic details, and see yourself enjoying it. I'll meet you back here in a few minutes.